Hey, and welcome back to the Mind Your Newness channel. I am Apostle Steve Green, and here we talk about personal growth strategies for artists and creators. Today, I want to give you 7 key tips of what you really need to know before you start a mural project. Now, I've been working on murals professionally for the past 12 years, and in that time, I've learned some very key lessons that I want to pass along to you today. Tip number 1, wall preparation. This is super duper important, guys. Make sure that your wall is properly cleaned and properly prepared before you start painting your mural. If there is dirt on the wall, if you're painting over dirt, it's going to affect the longevity of your mural. Also, there are instances where you may have to paint on a brick wall that's outside, that's already painted. Well, make sure that there is no peeling paint, because oftentimes you run into situations where you'll have dirt underneath a lying surface of paint and it just peels off the wall. And if you paint over that, your artwork will peel off with those pieces of or areas that are affected. And let me go a little bit deeper. Now, if you have a situation where you see peeling paint and it's peeling off in big chunks, that is a sign that there is moisture in between the paint and the wall. Sometimes when people prep the walls, they don't clean it properly, they don't power wash it, and their base coat will go right over the dirt and grit and moss or whatever it is on the wall. And they think, hey, I'm good, right? No, you're not. What happens is when water finds a crack, even a tiny crack in the wall, it will get in between the surface, the paint, and the wall. And when it freezes, it expands. And when it unfreezes, it unexpands. And what you'll have is you'll have bubbling and cracks all over the wall. And that's where you get that big peeling from. Make sure that your wall is properly cleaned. If you have to scrape off paint and put a rebase coat in certain areas, then that's what you're going to have to do. But I just had a situation where I had to restore a mural and paint was falling off in big chunks, literally chunks as big as a foot off the wall, and we had to resurface those areas. And what I found was that there was water in between the paint and the brick, such that the brick was even falling out. So be careful, guys. Make sure that you prepare your wall properly. If there are any cracks in the wall, fill them, patch them before you paint. Tip number 2, scale your artwork properly. This will save you a whole lot of time and effort and headaches, believe me. If you're off at 3 or 4 inches on your sketch, you'll be off 3 or 4 feet on your mural. So the way to do that is you want to correspond your sketch to the size of the wall. So make sure you take a good measurement of the wall. Let's say if your wall is 10 feet long and 8 feet high, then make sure your sketch 8 inches by 10 inches. And what you can do is you can draw a grid on your sketch, a 1-inch grid, horizontal lines, 1-inch lines across horizontally and 1-inch lines vertically over your sketch. And what I do is I actually draw the same grid that's on my sketch onto the wall. Yes, make sure you take the time to prepare and make sure that everything fits properly. If it takes a day or two to scale up the artwork, then so be it. You would rather have that time to make sure everything fits properly than to just throw your sketch up on the wall and find out things don't fit the way you thought they would, and then you would have to move things around. Believe me, I've been in that situation. It's not fun. Take your time, scale up your work, correspond your sketch in inches to feet on the wall. Believe me, you will be happy that you've taken that step. Tip number 3, use the proper paints. Make sure that you're using exterior paints for outside projects and interior paints for inside projects. And don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money on the paints. They're very durable, they're light fast, and especially the exterior paints, they last a long time. So they're very mixable as well. Don't be afraid to splurge a little bit. Don't be afraid to buy the higher quality brands. You want your mural to last, and you want your mural to have longevity. So don't be afraid to use the good stuff. If you can't, you can go with a cheaper grade, but don't go too cheap. You want your mural to last. You want your mural to really stand against the weather and stand the test of time. Interior paints, you can be a little bit more flexible because you're not dealing with the weather, rain, sun, and so forth. But again, just make sure that you're not using interior paints outdoors and vice versa. Tip number 4, mural work is physical work. You're going to be carrying heavy equipment. You're going to be carrying supplies to and fro your site. You're going to be up and down ladders. You're going to be crouching for long periods of time. You will be sore if you're putting in a day's worth of work doing a mural. It is physical work, so be prepared for that. If you're out there in the heat, out there in the sun, make sure you're hydrated, drinking lots of water, and just be prepared to be sore at the end of the day. It's physical work. It is not easy, uh, and you have to be physically prepared to lift things and to carry things and to go up and down ladders for long periods of time. Tip number 5, try to use quality materials. I spoke earlier about quality paints, but also your brushes and rollers too. Believe me, it does make a difference. The quality of your brushes and rollers, especially the brushes. If you got a good quality brush, the bristles won't be falling off and falling out while you're painting. And after you clean them, they won't fall apart as well. So a good quality brush will last you a long time. I tend to burn through a lot of brushes. And when I get a hold of a good quality brush, I try to keep it clean and keep it as durable as possible. But try to use quality brushes because it does help with the flow of the paint, ease of the line, and it just makes life a lot easier. And rollers too. If you have a good uh, quality roller, it won't burn out on you or flatten on you, midway through project. And you want materials that's going to last you. Tip number 6, clear coat or not to clear coat. It's really up to you. Some clients really ask for it. They like it. Unless, unless you're doing like an anti-graffiti coating, that's a different story. But for the most part, the outdoor paints are very durable. Like I said, they come in different glosses and sheens. So you really don't have to clear coat an outside design if you have a good quality paint, unless you want to. It's just another step that sometimes the clients like. But again, if you're putting a anti-graffiti coat on a project, that's something totally different. And I would suggest that you uh, apply those with a spray gun rather than the roller because it's very watery, very messy. I've done it on a wall one time, and I was amazed of how it was splattering all over the place. But it dries nice and clear, and it has a good sheen to it. And it's just something that is optional, and it's debatable within our field. Tip number 7, pricing. Now, there's a number of ways you can go with this, but I find my pricing model to be easiest just by charging by the square foot. And of course, I factor in my materials and I tend to double the price on the materials that I have to spend to do the job. So I definitely recoup my money back for materials that I have to buy. It's very expensive, y'all. The paints, your brushes, rollers, tarps, whatever it is that you buy to do a project, you will be making an investment. So make sure you at least recoup your money back. And again, I find it easier to price my murals by the square foot. You could charge $10, $20, $30 per square foot. And you can also factor in your experience. Make sure that you show the client your portfolio, and make sure you give them the confidence that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, especially in the beginning stages where you're talking about the scope of the project, the type of wall you'll be working on, and the logistics. So I hope this video helped you. Obviously, a lot more than what I've told you here, but take these 7 tips, use them, expand upon them. I hope that you guys crush it out there.